Welcome to Blink 155, the internet's something. It's our two-year anniversary this week. And in fitting with that, just how ridiculous everything constantly is, Sam basically can't talk, he said. Is that accurate? I mean, I don't want to make you explain. I feel this is like the joke has been that this is a prison sentence and that I'm trapping you in this. And literally, you've made it sound like every time you speak right now, it's agonizing pain, which is just an amazing metaphor for the whole pod.
It's very real. Yeah, like I didn't want to let you down. I didn't want to let the nation down on this important day. But also, it not only is the pod a prison sentence, but also like you do all the work anyway. And so I figured I'd just kind of show up to kind of to nod, to laugh. Maybe occasionally I'll like type you like really like if I have something really complicated that I need to say. But yeah, I've in an awful lot of mouth pain. I stayed home from work today. I'm like,
can you explain it at all?
I
don't even really get it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is like too much information for anyone. But I do think we've had a lot of radical transparency on this podcast, so it's important. And I want people to know that I swear to God I am trying. But since I was like a very wee child, I've had a lot of problems with mouth ulcers, which is so glamorous, such a glamorous problem to have. And I'm on a eventually found a great drug that works, but sometimes it doesn't work, and I'm experiencing a sort of a tremendous flare-up, as the kids would call it right now. Like I have, herpes on my dick, but that's not at all what's happening. Anyway, I'm flaring up. My dick's fine.
You've been chewing too much chewing tobacco.
That's the big problem, right? And the chewing tobacco has a little shards of glass and stuff in it. So it hurts to talk. I'm sort of talking out of like one side of my mouth right now, and I was like, hey Josiah, do you want to know another unnecessarily intimate detail of my life? But it is Thursday. It's the day before the pod. We've had no time this week. There was no getting around it. We had to pod today, and that's like literally as much as you'll hear me talk this episode, probably.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I've ever talked about this on here before, but when I was a little kid, I was born with something where something happened with my sinuses where they were like connected to my neck. And so I had like basically, and this is not fake, it was one of those things like my grandpa with 3 balls. That when I was just with my parents, I was like, I need to confirm that this is true, and it is true. I had basically nostrils on my neck, and so my mom would hold me as a baby and pull me back, and there would be like a string of snot coming out of my neck. There is a medical term for it. So I'm kind of hoping that like if your mouth ulcers can come back, I'm hoping that my neck snot can come back. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very the shape of water.
Yeah, that's a very sexy movie.
Yeah, so anyways, it sucks though because I do want to know how the Blink-182 concert was, but I also was thinking I've been editing, as you know, and the people of Montreal will soon find out. I've just edited something special for our Montreal live show, and while I was doing it, I needed some of your voice, and then I was thinking, fuck, I really need to make just like a Sam soundboard for when something like this happens, because all I really need to do, like we're going to talk about an old song, all I really need to do is like be able to hit the sick button after the old videos.
Yeah.
And hit like, that's so good. Why can't it still be like, like, oh, it's my top. I mean, I think, unfortunately, this blindsided me. If you had told me about your mouth ulcer sooner, I could have made the soundboard and we would have been fine. I might have even been able to take an old episode and just put your voice track beside mine.
Well, yeah, because you sort of, you're halfway there, again, as a teaser for the Montreal episode. And really, yeah, I don't contribute that much, and so maybe if you got me complaining about a fresh ailment and plus like sick, we weren't on this later because we have like there's a whole album plus an EP to go, so we're gonna be
right. So there's still time, and maybe ultimately what we can do is by the time we're done all the songs, we can still have sort of built an AI that can release a new episode every week.
Yeah,
without us.
Just sort of scans the song, compares it to old songs and songs we've already. Like, that's so interesting. You could do that, right? Like, analyze the waveform of songs we liked and hated and then just generate an episode?
Yeah, exactly. But I do want to know, like, in as few painless words as possible, how was the Blink concert?
It was so magical. Like, it was such a magical time. I was there with pals. We got a good spot up on the lawn, so we had a nice view. We were close to beers, which was important. And it was like the second it started, it was just like nonstop, full voice, singing along, like.
That's what did it. I'm sure that's what did it.
I think that's what did it. Was that I just I was just too enthused for too long and
start the episode.
Yeah, for every action there's an equal or whatever opposite reaction. And
so if you become too earnest, your body will turn on you, and that's why I'll never do it.
That's it.
I'm too afraid.
Protecting yourself. But I've seen different takes on this, and again, it's hard for me to tell because I literally never stopped singing, and I apologize to everyone around me, but we were all doing it. I feel like everybody was doing it. And, like, I think Matt was better. I think Mark was, like, actually having fun. There were, like, funny jokes. Like, the whole thing just, like, didn't feel as pathetic as the last... Nels were the pathetic episode. It didn't feel as pathetic as the last time that I saw them, which, like, we've talked about at length, is, like, they sort of have started to feel kind of depressing. And this, like, really wasn't. They didn't play any of the new songs, which I was legitimately disappointed by. But it just felt like watching a band actually kind of have fun and watching... all of these people, like a sold out show in Toronto in 2019, like everyone having a great time. And it was like a reminder of, on a macro sense, of like why even the pod works, is because like we're all so emotionally connected to this band at this time in our lives, and to be able to share that in a small way with this like great group of friends that I was there with, and in a big way with like, this sort of section of the city, was like fucking incredible. They were so fucking good. It was amazing.
Were you podinized?
No,
by anyone?
I'll be totally honest. I wasn't, and I was like super disappointed. Except that apparently someone on Twitter said they yelled Harvard Online at me, and I did not react. Which, like, I swear to God,
singing too hard.
Yeah, if it was during the show, like, I saw absolutely nothing, and I was there with Aaron from Junior Battles and my friend Dan, and like a friend of the pod Pat, like a lot of people that we've talked about on the pod, friend of the pod Joe, and everyone there is like kind of musical, and we were all like pretty drunk and singing and like literally doing like 3-part harmonies to choruses, like to amuse ourselves. Like, I'm not even kidding. It was like so twee and like just an incredible
so happy.
feeling. Yeah, it was incredible.
I'm so happy not only that you had that experience, but also that I wasn't there.
You would. The whole time I was thinking, I was like, what's going to happen when you and I watch this band together? Because like,
I don't know if we ever should.
Like, I don't think it would be a good time, because I was like 17 sheets to the wind and like just like bellowing, and I just can't imagine like looking over at you and being like, hey, yeah, and knowing that you were.
And I'm like live tweeting it instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, you said this sheets to the wind thing on GChat as well. Is that like some sort of pirate term, or?
Yeah, like when you're like 3 sheets to the wind. I guess it's a seafaring term describing being drunk, and so I've just amplified it by about 14 sheets. Not to brag, but I've been scolded in the past for fucking up math. So.
Okay, well, the other thing that's going on, and now you can give your poor mouth a break here for a second. But the other thing that's happened.
So much time. You on GChat being like, "How's your mouth?" And I was like, "It's bad."
I feel
like,
bad.
How's your mouth?
I literally feel guilty. I feel like I'm pressed. Like, when you like press what is that movie where like you press a button, and I can't even think of it. I mean, and the thing is, you usually fill in these gaps for me, but I feel like every time I speak or share a video, I'm literally inflicting pain on you, not just like metaphorically like usual, but
no, it's like really happening.
Physical.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing, but this is my real sensey side. The guilt is coming out. But anyways, the thing that happened as well this week, I think at another Blink show, I don't know. I mean, I don't give a fuck about paying attention to dates or details, but one of the other Blink shows, not the Toronto one, 2 wrestlers got in a fist fight, and that was the thing that like went viral earlier this week. And I was like, great, now we have to turn into a Blink pod, because now other wrestlers today were being like, Blink-182 sucks, and then Seth Rollins was like, no, they don't, they rock. And so now wrestling is somehow getting involved with Blink, and I feel like Blink is somehow getting bigger and bigger and bigger, which is why this podcast keeps growing, and why by the end of it, we're going to say about Sam Sutherland that it ruined him.
was good.
So Sam, let me lead the way. Let me guide you through your poor mouth. Just like I feel also like I'm thinking of the Metallica 1 video, like that guy who's just like in agony, and I don't know. I think that's like from some classic literary thing too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've really I feel like I've dramatized how much pain you're in significantly, or you're hiding it very well. But either way, it's an interesting vibe.
I'm trying not to be like a baby about it. Plus, it's just so weird to talk about your mouth this much, like on a platform where people are going to hear it. But like again, I mean, I did not go to work today because I could not handle the idea of like talking to anybody.
And like Champagne Sammy not going to work. Like for most people, it's like, yeah, I had a little bit of a fake cough, and I wanted to watch Love Island. But for Champagne Sammy, it's like not going to work. The amount of fucking money you left on the table, the amount of sheets to the wind financially that you could have been right now. It's like
I just respect my employer is all. That's it.
So very quickly, with as few words as possible, Sam, do you like this song? How do you feel about it?
Fucking amazing. Like it's so fucking good, right? It feels like a Dude Ranch song. Like it absolutely should have been a Dude Ranch song.
Yeah, it should have. And I mean, that's kind of the consensus. Everyone thinks it should have been. I fully agree. I think that the bass playing at the start is like so... Okay, the first thing I got to say is I've already done the guest interview like an hour ago, and you're all going to hear in a second how surreal and insane it is. So I'm kind of in a weird place where I feel a little bit embarrassed right now for liking Blink so much. And that's why this is the perfect place to be in right now, because this song is amazing and I love it, but also like it's very confusing. Everything is confusing right now. I'm just feeling lost again in a way that's kind of exciting. This guest has been sort of, I mean, in my whole life, part of the ether. It's very bizarre that this has happened, and so I'm just feeling weird in general. But I think this Blink song also, like, kind of exemplifies this feeling of brattiness and snottiness, especially, like, the bass chords at the start are pretty dumb sounding, and then the guitar riff is, like, truly ignorant sounding to me. Like, it just sounds like a class clown in guitar form. So I love the riff so much. And then ultimately it kind of turns into, like, a generic pop punk song that I still really like, but just the bass and the guitar at the start, and then there's like this bass breakdown at the end. I just think it's so good and so like suburban punk brattiness that I love.
It's so sick. That's the soundboard.
Yeah, the soundboard. We should really work on that. And also, obviously, the Wrecked Him pun is like, it's fantastic. So this is from the They Came to Conquer Uranus EP. I think that it's like beautiful that they're using so many butt metaphors. Just bless them for that, you know? Like, thank you so much for doing that.
But mixing their butt metaphors, right?
I forgot that we did annotations on Genius last week, so I log into Genius and yeah, there's like some welcome to Genius thing. And also, I forgot to say our actual real. So there was the contest with the Blink-182 concert. Who gives a fuck about that? That's boring. What, you're gonna watch Sam sing with his friends? Okay,
so
just go on Instagram stories instead. Last week we launched a contest where you sent me a horrendous photo.
Yeah.
And we offered $100 if anyone could guess. No one guessed it, so the photo is now on our Twitter unless it's been deleted, or unless it's just kind of been blocked by, like, I feel like QAnon is blocking shit on Twitter now that Epstein has come out. So, you know, it's not a safe place anymore. There's censorship going on. Maybe they've censored us already with me posting this. You never know. And I really do have to reiterate that I think it is going to be QAnon season soon, unfortunately. Right. I just think that so much shit is happening. Like, the fact that I'm starting to now look into To the Stars a bit more and seeing seeing psychos connecting Tom to John Podesta to, you know. So it's kind of going to be interesting. We might have to do a Comet Ping Pong exclusive or something to really just
next live show is in Washington.
Yeah, exactly. And there'll be extra cheese, if you know what I mean.
Oh.
I don't know what that means.
Which one does that mean? Yeah, okay, I don't know the code.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't think you should have said that.
Yeah, now I'm going to get killed. But that'll be okay. We made it to 2 years.
I mean, yeah, I'd be fine with it.
But yeah, I love that they like have all these puns. I love that they came to conquer Uranus. Just like the album cover alone of this EP is so cool. And it seems like it's like a record that feels like it's rare, even though it's not really that rare, and everyone has the 7-inch. It's been reissued a million times. It just like feels like an outlier. It's produced by this dude O that we've talked about before that I forgot to talk to our guest about. I think there might be a tiny bit of cross-pollination. But either way, there's some San Diego vibes going on. This song is sick. The only thing about the lyrics that I do want to say is that I've never heard the phrase "you need some time to sew the bridges that you burn." And was he thinking of the word mend? Because I think you would mend bridges that you burn, but like, what kind of like fucking twee ass Michel Gondry situation is he sewing a bridge back together? Is this like the science of sleep?
Yeah. Oh, that's one of the only movies I've ever walked out of. Oh,
really?
Sorry. I need to explain something. So Ashley just walked by, and I'm sitting here. I'm like, I've got my weed. I'm doing everything I can to try to not be in like excruciating pain right now. So I'm pretty high, and also like the sun is at such an angle right now that it's reflecting off the building across from our house, and so I'm also like. It's like 40 degrees in our house. I just had a cold shower. I'm high. I've got a sleeveless shirt on, and I'm also wearing sunglasses inside. So Ashley might send you the photo soon, so you can kind of okay. There you go. So send that to Josiah. So just so you can get a full sense of like what a fucking wreck I am right now. Like,
talking to him.
I know. I'm trying.
Josiah.
I'm trying. He keeps interjecting.
I know. He's
got so much to say. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to think of like a scenario where you would sew a burnt bridge. I'm gonna quickly Google that. And no, I can't picture it, and it's so stupid, and it's like the central thing of the song. So that does kind of ruin it a little bit. And I think the riff again is like so ignorant and snotty that it's hard to imagine it going any other way. But otherwise, it's like super generic pop punk lyrics with all those words you bring. Why do you say what you don't mean? Really good. I've got a great picture of Sam. Oh my god! What a great. I don't even know what this looks like. You kind of like it looks. You kind of look like you're being propped up like Weekend at Bernie's style, but there's no one propping you up.
I also, in terms of images, just send you some information about sewing metal, which I believe you can do for like your mixed media art with a really robust sewing machine.
Oh, wow. So this is from judycoatesperez.com. I assume as an artist, it's not loading, probably because my computer is trying to understand this photo of Sam as we go.
Can you send me the photo? I'm really curious. How fucked up does this look?
I'm trying to zoom in on your mouth to see if I can see any of the ulcers, but I can't.
Because they're in deep in there, man.
So I guess you could sew. Yeah, okay, so sewing metal, Judy Coates Perez, creative alchemist, writes, I know some people might be afraid to sew metal on their sewing machine, so to dispel any fears, I thought I would make a short video demonstrating how I sew metal on my Fiesta ornaments. And so there's a whole video of how to sew metal. So perhaps I guess if your bridge is made of wood and then you burn it, then maybe you'd be like, look, it's like the Three Little Piggies. We need to up the ante here. So we're gonna fix it with metal, and we're gonna sew metal. So we can assume that when Tom was working on the song with O, that he was aware of Judy Coates Perez's metal sewing method from Fiesta Ornaments.
I think it's a reference, right? You should annotate on Genius.
I'm just trying to understand, like, then using the sewing machine, like, are they bringing it to the bridge and sewing piece by piece things back together, and just sort of like, I don't know. I mean, I also just hate that I'm thinking about a burnt bridge so literally, because it seems really stressful to have to rebuild it. And I guess that's the point, is once you burn a bridge, it's very difficult to rebuild it. And so that's really quite powerful. I'm just spiraling here. It's like weird to try to talk this without any interruptions, but there are also videos. And so something else that I found. Oh, you want me to send you the picture here? Let's see. We might have to tweet this one. It's really good. I mean, it's not that weird, but it's just like a funny vibe after hearing you describe it.
I think you can tweet that. That's fine.
What's this tank top you got on here?
Oh, it's from the CNE. I got it for like maybe $1 or $2. It says adios, and it's a cat riding a shark.
That's like definitely at least on 1,000 tour posters for fest bands.
For sure. That's why I bought it, man.
So, I mean, I always forget that this song exists. I assume that you always forget that this exists.
Yeah, well, it's not even on Apple Music or anything, right? Like, it's that this EP is like purely like a collector thing, and then the songs are on YouTube.
Yeah, so it's easy to forget, and including, I'm really bad right now, falling apart, including Mark forgot about it. I found this video where, and this actually is a pretty good segment. I feel like if you were ever to relaunch aux videos, or like, you know, like someone should do this with artists more often because it's kind of cool. But basically, and the reason Matt Skiba looks so stressed out here is because I can't tell who uploaded this. Conbini, maybe? Blink-182 Chile uploaded it to YouTube, but they basically, I'm going to play more from this video actually because it's so good, but they make them sit there with bells and then they play clips of songs and then they have to buzz in and say what the song is, and it's kind of like a competition. And Matt Skiba is very serious about it, but when Rectum comes on, Mark has no clue what it is at first. So I'm going to play this.
I don't remember the name of that song off the top of my head. I'm drawing a blank right now. It's Blink. Rectum, yeah. It's from, it was a 7-inch that we did.
So he knew it was Blank, but he was like, which I guess is like kind of possible. That I guess I could kind of see it happening, but I don't know. That's so weird. I just feel like Mark truly does think sometimes. He seems like he thinks that "Damn It" is the first song that they ever wrote and did. It's kind of the vibe I get.
But I also wonder, like, they have changed so much as individuals. Like, if it weren't for the band getting popular, they probably wouldn't still be in the band. Like, if someone played you a song from your, like, high school band, would you immediately know the name of it? Like, we only know it because they became famous.
If it was my own band, I might. I mean, I probably wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, I would be fucking terrible at this game because I don't remember any names or... Like, I'm just, like, really bad at this kind of thing. Like, know it. Like I'm really bad at using my brain to know things, basically.
Your tweet during the Blink show was pretty good. It was like, oh, nice you're all at the Blink show while I'm at home reading encyclopedias and expanding my knowledge.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't doing that. I was editing the video for the Montreal show, which is definitely the stupidest thing I've ever made in my life, and I've spent like 3 full days on it. It's so dumb. So please come, so July 27th. Yeah, but I mean, like, so I'm trying to find like some good ones in here because it's really funny. Maybe I'll keep playing it actually after this part. But yeah, like they talk about Savages. Matt Skiba's like, yeah, my buddy in LA told me to check out this band, and I just fell in love. But he also got the name of the song wrong, so who knows? But yeah, this is actually a really interesting kind of interview content. I'm going to play a little bit more. They play on YouTube between.
No effects. Long is fine.
There you go. For.
I know what this is. Queens of the Stone Age. How much time do I get?
Get to the chorus.
It's in my head.
In my head, and you need it. Yeah, I knew it.
Oh, that's it. That's the end. They really like struggle with a Ramones song earlier on. He calls it The Clash. But I mean, I would do the same thing. It's just like a funny thing to do because I can kind of see Mark, especially when during the Queens of the Stone Age one where he's like, I don't know if I heard that one. It's like the kind of interview thing where because you're like an old guy in a punk band, you really want to seem like you know your stuff. So it's the ultimate. It's like taking the thing of I've heard of them, but I don't think I've ever heard them, which, we all do all the time, but it's like the exact opposite of that, like making you hear it first and then proving that you might not know your stuff or whatever. Like, it's kind of like a really actually cruel thing to do.
It's quite
It makes
rude.
everyone seem like a poser. Yeah, I love it. Maybe we should do that to our guests.
We should do it to ourselves. We should do a Exclusive where we just see if we can name Blink songs. I bet we fucking can't.
Yeah, definitely not. But how could you forget the name Wrecked Him? And that's also like a pun that I don't really see that often. I was looking around to try to find more Wrecked Him stuff, and it's just like gamers posting shit about how they wrecked him, like on their stream or whatever. It's so good. Another one that I love that's really subtle is New Directions, which is like nude erections. That's so good.
Oh, that's great.
And like that's one where when you see it, you can't really tell if they're doing it on purpose or not. But yeah, I love puns are so good. They're just so great.
Is that a pun though? Because I feel like it's like wrecked him, new directions, like cunning linguist, like that kind of shit. Is that a pun?
Oh my God, Sam, really? You're gonna use your few words to do this to me? Okay, let's look at what a pun actually is. A joke exploiting the different possible meanings of a word or the fact that there are words which sound alike but have different meanings. So yeah, I think so.
But it's like it's like a pun. It's like a pun sandwich or like a double pun. You know what I mean? Because the joke is the two words together, right? I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like there's got to be a
perhaps.
special phrase for it, like turbo pun.
You're trying to do math as well, I can tell. You're trying to make it math. Because, like, is it a double entendre or is the fact that it needs more words making it more of an
Yeah. Is it a triple entendre? Or is it a half entendre?
Yeah. Is it possible to have a single entendre? That's the other thing. I'm just Googling wrecked him pun. Oh, of course. Okay, wait. Oh my God, I'm falling apart here. Now I'm on one of these like weird meme pages that just has that like stoned college student guy. This is not helping me at all. But there's also, wrecked him, damn near killed him. That's from something. Well, someone will know what that is.
I always think of that as the full pun. Like, the even wrecked him in isolation until I said it out loud. Like I said, Ashley was like, what song are you doing? I was like, wrecked him. And I was like, oh. Like, that happened to me half an hour ago. Like, I didn't get it because I only ever seen it as wrecked him, damn near killed him.
Right. Wait, okay. Now I'm trying to... There's a lot going on, and there's not a whole lot of vamping in between.
I know,
so now
I'm
I'm
sorry.
on another... It's okay. It's my fault for saying yes to this podcast 2 years ago. I've ruined both of our lives. I should have said no. Now I'm trying to turn off my ad blocker so that I can read this page, but I accidentally clicked Honey, which is an app that finds deals for you on every page. So now everything's just falling apart. I think I'm here. Okay. The Odyssey, what is this? Is this the Harvard website? No. Some sort of news website called Odyssey. I just found a thing where someone named Daniel Smith from Marywood University in 2016, July 19th, quite literally the week after we started the pod. Do you think this person was aware of the pod? They've done an article where they listened to all of Blink-182 in one day.
What?
Is that even possible, actually? It must be.
155.
I mean...
I don't know. Let's assume every song's 4 minutes. That's like 620 minutes. How many minutes are in a day?
Oh yeah, that's. I think they were probably average around 3 minutes more, but that's. I think whatever you just said was like 10 hours or something.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
Yeah, it's not even half a day.
We need to talk to this little dweeb about this.
This is important. We should bookmark. Oh, now I have to whitelist it too. God damn it.
Yeah. Do you have Honey? I mean, it's a great app, but just don't click that by accident. So anyways, I don't know what's going on. I don't know where we are. And also, I am not wearing any clothes because my office is so hot. I turned my computer off so the fan would not go on. And it's just, like, going on again. It's going crazy. Well, everything's a disaster.
Can I give you a break then for a second while you frantically click and sweat and fill time by talking about how sweaty you are? Because I feel like I do want to use a little bit of my speech ability to tell a story that the single double entendre thing reminded me of, which is a total non sequitur, but it's like very important. If I don't tell the story now, I'll forget it. and it's important because I feel like the nation will appreciate it, which was yesterday. A friend of mine was telling me about their 5-year-old son, I guess, walked into their room with no pants on, and crucially, their son is uncircumcised. They have not mutilated their son's genitals. And I guess like this kid was like had just kind of discovered that their foreskin like moves, and so proceeded to like get their mother's attention and be like, "Mom, look!" and just started pulling the foreskin up and down on their dick and going, "It's beautiful." And then the mom had to explain, and then she started laughing, and then he kept doing it because he thought he was making her laugh, and she's like, "No, don't. That's like in your room or like in the bathroom. That's not here in front of your mom." Anyway, I'm just laughing at the idea of a 5-year-old being like, "I've got a beautiful cock."
You just had to use your little bit of words to talk about a 5-year-old's penis.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, let's load up the Sam soundboard because I'm going to play a video of them playing it at Soma in 1995, which is just a crazy year. I'm going to play a live video from 1995 later on as well. So this is Blink-182 playing Wrecked Him live at Soma in 1995.
Yeah, it's fucking
Okay,
sick.
I'm gonna press the button. Sick.
Okay. Sick.
I'm actually gonna ruin our secret guest thing right now because it's a good fitting thing.
Aww.
So I'm blown. Do you want me not to? I mean, we have some very weird, strict rules in this Skull and Bones Brigade type cult that we're running here.
It's okay. It's already a weird episode. I think you can break the rules this time.
So the guest this week, as you've already read, and I can't believe, is Justin Pearson from The Locust and from 31G and Retox and a million other things. Really good sport, really great guest. Was really on the fence about doing it because he didn't want to just like shit talk the whole time, but it ended up being really interesting. But what is really throwing me off is like, okay, we just watched this video. It was very sick. They look really cool in like a now way, but somehow the same year is this video of The Locust with like they're playing at Zed Records also in San Diego. I mean, maybe we can quickly Google the difference in location of Zed Records and Soma. Oh no, sorry, this is at Long Beach. Fuck. Okay, never mind. So this is elsewhere in SoCal. So that fucks me up. But anyways, same year, this band is playing. They sound like this, and they look insanely cool and like I mean just like classic screamo style. But this is just like I'm just so confused. I just like can't comprehend how this is the same year and both of these things are happening. Like I feel like even though we've been doing this for 2 years, I still haven't been able to piece together how this happened at the same time and originated from the same city.
Yeah, the
and
timeline makes no fucking sense. That's so fucked.
Justin Pearson is born the same year as Tom DeLonge. Like they're literally the same age, and I just like I'm so perplexed and confused. But maybe what I was just thinking is that this video of The Locust, they look very cool. They're sick as hell, but they look cool in a way of like remembering going to shows in the mid to late 90s when we were little kids, to me. But they don't look cool, whereas the Blink-182 Soma video, they look cool in a way that's like they're dressed now. So maybe what it is that when culture goes back around and things come back into style and become like hip again, we're mimicking the normies from back then rather than like the actual underground kids. Like Mark's oversized t-shirt and like skateboard hat or whatever, that looks cool now, but it's because there's like an ironic detachment, whereas back then these guys probably definitely thought that Blink-182 was a bunch of fucking jocks.
Well, yeah, because I don't think you can feel nostalgia for something that wasn't like collective nostalgia, and therefore the kind of nostalgia that like gets kind of repeated and canonized, like unless it was something that was shared by a large group of people. Like Stranger Things is deep in this 80s thing right now, but it's like the populist version of the 80s. Like it's not like they're doing like 80s hardcore. And if they did, like when they do the weird goth episode in the last season, it's like a very deliberate, like now it's a fringe thing, right? Otherwise, we just sort of have an agreed palette for nostalgia.
Yeah, like there's nothing nostalgic about this Locust video because it just also hasn't. Maybe in order for something to be nostalgic, it has to have like a period of 10 years where it seems bad. Mm-hmm. And this doesn't seem like it's ever been corny. Like this will never be corny. It's just like sick if you like punk and hardcore. It's just always going to be cool. So I don't know. I'm just like, I still can't really piece together how these things coexisted at the same time. But I love it. I love that weird feeling.
It's insane. Like the idea of this being in 95, and I think of the Locust is something that like personally like I found out about several years later, so I'm kind of shocked by that for some reason. I'm like, aren't they like a 2000 band or something?
Yeah, I know. They do seem like that. I can't remember when they signed to Epitaph, and I'm also realizing as we're doing this that, wow, you can really talk about any band on this pod, and it's fun. But their album, they signed to Anti in 2003, so that's why. And then the self-titled Locust record that was like that I remember from shows and from like the peak White Belt era was 1998 and released on CD in 99. But yeah, like they signed to Anti in 2003, so they do seem more like a 2000s band, but like they definitely were around in the mid-90s. Like the timeline of Justin Pearson's career completely is almost identical to Blink-182. And like somehow this song wrecked him, and then you think like no wonder everyone hated Blink, because it just, you put those two things together and it sounds so incredibly soft. I mean, we love it because we like pop music, maybe. I don't know. I'm very confused right now again.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just San Diego doesn't seem big enough to have had these two extremely divergent things, like both ostensibly in the punk realm, happen at the same time.
Yeah, it's very fucked. But on to the next fact about Wrecked Him. And this is from Reddit. It's from the user BlinkDuck, who I'm wondering if might be our friend, but maybe not. But either way, they've written, love that song. Not to sound like a nerd, but whatever. They've done a typo. My name in old school RuneScape was Wrecked Him for the longest time. Current name in RuneScape is Skiba. And so perhaps it was our friend Josh Pawalt, who recently, according to the post, I don't know if it's true or not. I've been looking at his socials and I can't tell, but I think because he did go back to jail for a while after he appeared on the pod
for doing weed, right?
I think, or maybe even just for drinking. I can't remember. It was one of the two deadly sins. Absolutely, but his release date was July 7th. So I don't know. I'm gonna look into that and maybe we can catch up with him again. But either way, someone went from the Wrecked Him to Skiba in RuneScape, so that person really understands the full spectrum of Blink.
They've gone on the full journey.
They have. Yeah. So how you doing?
I'm great, man. How's your mouth?
My mouth's pretty good. I ate a lot of food right before we talked. So this
is
just
feeling it in your tummy a bit?
Not yet. I'm feeling like I'm feeling the high of a big dinner that is slowly turning into more sweat, and then I think I'm gonna like fall apart in a second.
How's the stampede?
I'm excited for it. It is fucking hell on earth. They moved the Stampede Cowboys tent, like the Cowboys Casino. It used to be called Cowboys Nightclub. This notorious fucking terrible place. It's where I saw Pauly Shore do stand-up one time. And I saw Paris Hilton there as well. And those two reviews that I did in Fast Forward Weekly resulted in me getting banned from the guest list there because like, you're not allowed to come and just make fun of us all the time. So I'm not allowed to be on the guest list anymore. But like they used to have it in the parking lot of the casino, which is like 2 blocks away from us. That's where we saw Blink play with The Used. But they've moved it like literally onto our street this year. So every night we can hear like until 1 a.m. just like we can literally hear the crowd. Like we could hear that DJ Zed the other night. And Lil Nas X is playing there this weekend. And literally on the tickets it says Lil Nas X here to perform. Sorry. Lil Nas X here to perform Old Town Road. So like I don't even know if he's going to play any other songs. Maybe he's just going to go to this giant tent and play that one song for like 5,000 people or whatever. But either way, like the tent is on our streets. We can hear the crowd, and then like every night until 1 or 2 a.m. there's just like people cosplaying as cowboys stumbling around outside of our apartment. So it's just fucking horrible. Guy Fieri was here today. To do like a cook-off or something in this tent right by our house, but like I don't know. I'm trying not to go outside. It's just fucking it's terrible. I hate it so much.
Did you go to Dashboard and Menine?
No, but we could hear them out the window as well. And yeah, like fuck. So many people are playing.
If Dashboard and Lil Nas X were playing down the street from my house, I would have a hard time staying away.
I know that you would. You'd have so many flags up to the sky or whatever and just go so hard. But no, I don't know. And I think I'm finding it even worse that like now that cowboy shit is culturally cool, that's also bugging me. I'm really settling into my mid-30s wanting to like unlock the us versus them mentality in me again. I'm really ready to become like too cool for everything again. Starting like I think it started from doing this interview this week with Justin Pearson. I'm like, what have I been doing all this time? It's time to be a snob again.
Yeah, because I feel like mostly this pod has been your journey towards like being less of a snob. Like, how did you ask Justin Pearson what he thinks about your other friend, Dan Reynolds?
No, I didn't get a chance to. But we talk about a lot. This is a fucking juicy interview. So keep listening. Stay tuned for more of that. But first, someone on Reddit said that this song kind of sounds like Wrecked Him. And so I'm going to play it. I can kind of hear it, but mostly I just think it's crazy how this is from 2013 and you can immediately see what the trends were looking back even just a few years later. Like this is like some like post-waves garage rock type shit with like the music videos, like you know those music videos where they shoot it on a set with different colored backdrops and there's like like fruit or like models or I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't even know how to explain this vibe, but like why was every music video like this until last year? It's so weird.
Yeah, you're right,
Anyways,
but I don't know how to describe it. It's just like everyone got the same like $150 like psych with the different backdrops for like their Instagram shoots or whatever, and then they started using it for their music videos.
Yeah, it's so weird. So this band's called Bleeding Knees Club, and the song's called Feel, and just see if you can hear any Wrecked Him in it. I think that early 2010s garage pop was just like taking Blink and then stripping it of the most exciting thing, which is the urgency of it.
Yeah,
and then just doing sort of like bing 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 bing. I don't know. Good for them, I guess. Shout out to Bleeding Knees Club.
But doesn't it sound a lot more like? And this is where I would fail, like in the doo 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 doo. What the fuck is that? I mean, it's Dude Ranch. It doesn't matter. The point is that's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Who gives a shit?
You know what was amazing, man?
About...
That sounded like Dysentery Gary, and I got to say, hearing Dysentery Gary live was so great, and that made me feel the most for the pod, because I do think the Dysentery Gary episode is like sort of the turning point of the pod. And like definitely. Hearing that live, like I was like, damn, we've come such a long way.
I've been thinking it's fun how we're like getting towards. I mean, now we're no matter how many songs they release, we're past the halfway point. No matter what, I've been thinking about like some of these episodes coming up will serve as sequels, and so Dysentery Gary was like my moment of radical transparency where I talked about shitting myself for like 20 minutes or whatever. And so I'm thinking like when we get to the Depends episode, what am I gonna have to do, like a bowel health update or something? Should I get like a rectum exam?
Yeah, I think
you
should.
Or something?
Yeah, I think we should definitely at some point in the pod look at like we're gonna be getting old. Like we're both gonna start getting our prostates examined, or we should.
It's true. I'm getting mine examined right now, actually, while I pod.
Multitasking.
The other sequel that I really want to do, but I'm just gonna spoil it right now because I don't think that I should do it. It's too scary. There's been so much like talk about like YouTube being a place for predators that I'm just afraid of even getting involved. But for Snake Charmer, I really wanted to get the kid who had Sally, the pet snake that died. But like I don't know how to like write to a little kid and be like, hey, can you talk to me about your snake? Like it's just like
okay, well, yeah. But like honestly, like has this stopped you before? Like you literally have like two different groups of like teenage girl like female friends because of this podcast.
I know, but I still feel like even like a teenager is different than talking to like a boy. Like, hey boy, I don't know. Can you talk to me about your dead pet on my podcast? And also, it's like not even a DM service on YouTube, so I have to like start commenting. I did write one comment on one of his videos, like, "Hey, can you email us?" But then I would probably need to like talk to his parents about it, and then be like, "Hey,
you have to explain it all to them."
This podcast with an international audience is just enamored by your boy and his meta snake funeral video. We just can't get enough of that shit. So could he talk? Like, there's just I just feel like that one is out of my hands. You know, I don't know.
I agree with you, but I think maybe you should also feel the same way about all the teens you DM all the
time. I see what you're saying. And you are really using your words sparingly and yet with great effect. Okay. So before we get into covers, I feel like this is really, we got to keep this shit moving here. I did find another song called Wrecked Him, and I don't think that this one is a pun, and that's what I'm talking about with like, I think people just don't realize that they're saying rectum. Because this band seems very serious to me. They've tagged their song Rock and Roll on SoundCloud. Their band is called Normal Enough, which is a normal enough name for them to not be saying rectum. And this is from their album Compass, which is listed as the very first album of Normal Enough. Like, this is so sincere that I don't think they're doing a double entendre, as you would say it. Or perhaps, maybe someone can tell us how many entendres there are if there's more than one word.
Well, yeah. What's the maximum number of entendres?
What does just the word entendre mean? Like, you never heard the word entendre before on its own.
Yeah, it's true. There's double entendres, and then we were riffing, but yeah, no one's ever been like, oh, excellent entendre.
Yeah, there's a few words I can't. Oh, here we go. It's on Google. What is a single entendre?
Is it just like a word?
A single entendre is a phrase that has a single, often body meaning, and is lacking in subtlety or cleverness. So once you double it, maybe it gets clever.
So if I say like nice ass Josiah, that's a single entendre. But if I'm like, I like the trunk that you've got on your automobile. I don't know what.
Yes, that's exactly right. Here we go on Wikipedia. The etymology there, it was used. The second one that they list is from your favorite show, Buffy.
Oh, yeah.
Larry says, "Man, Yeah, you should get Joss Whedon on the pod. Speaking of being a creep.
Canceled men, yeah.
Goes both ways. Yeah, that's the other one I'm really wrestling with is, like, do I ask Mike Bullard on the pod? I mean, we talk now. So I don't know. Do I ask him on?
Dude, you have
Someone
to.
Someone said wait till his court cases. Like, maybe if he's vindicated in court, he can go on the pod. But I don't want to have this guy. His new podcast is called... His new pod is called U2, which I think is like a play on Me Too. Like, there's just too many questions.
No.
I don't know. Look, I'm going to leave that to the listeners. Please DM us and let me know. I'm not going to put you on blast. I actually genuinely would like to know the morality of this. Should we give Mike Bullard a platform specifically to talk about when Blink was on his terrible talk show? Or should I just let it be?
Yes.
And
The answer is yes.
Down this path. Yes. So anyways, back to Joss Whedon.
YouTube. Do you think he's doing is it like a U2 podcast that's like also about false accusations of sexual harassment against men?
Well, okay, yesterday he was talking to me like crazy because I was just obsessing over his tweets because he kept like tweeting the Midsommar poster with different captions. Like it was like he was workshopping a bit.
Yeah.
But he would just tweet them all and it was so bad. Okay, and it's even changing more. So anyways, I kept retweeting him and then he started talking to me and I was like, Mike, why is your... And if you're not from Canada, you're not going to really be enjoying this at all, but too bad.
It's not for you.
Yeah. So we do have our own culture. It's talking about Mike Bullard. I was like, Mike, why is your Twitter bio just the number 1997? And he was like, because that was the year Mike Bullard launched, and it was one of my favorite years of my life or whatever, which is like charming and very sad. But then my question inspired him to change it, and it's gotten much worse. So now he said, now look at it. I updated it. It says, host of U2 podcast starting in September. Oh, and falsely accused stalker by Toronto Star. Former testicle radio host until they couldn't afford me. What does that mean?
That feels like maybe that's a triple entendre, and we're not getting it.
There's a lot of entendres going on here. So definitely, I'm really wrestling with what to do with my potential budding relationship with Mike Bullard. And keep in mind, a lot of you follow and retweet O.J. Simpson. So before you cast stones, just remember that you are doing that as well. So I'd like to know. Anyways, back to Normal Enough with their song "Wrecked Him." Here's what it sounds like.
It doesn't seem like you care, and you said that you were fine. Well, I'm holding on tight, and all the words in my head were all the nasty things you said. Like, I love you. You have plans for me. I miss you. Do you want some of me? Broken stars and trying to polish Lego cars when you wrecked him. It was a quick
Wrecked him.
Yo, those.
I love the idea of someone.
They have no idea.
Someone being like, yeah. I also just love someone being like, man, I love Swing Kids and Black Cat number 13 and early. Early Screamo and the things that birthed out of it. And I would love to hear this podcast where Justin Pearson talks about the unexpected subject of Blink-182. And then maybe I won't put the time the interview starts in this one.
Right.
We can be hearing "Wrecked him."
They can just hear me talking about my sores, and then just that song, a story about a 5-year-old's dick,
Me trying to decide if I should
be
recruit a young boy,
or
and then B,
be friends with my That's good.
Oh my god. Okay, so another one. I think I'm trying to figure this out. I think there is a ska band called Rectum, but I could not find any record of it other than this upload from Def Icon. So this is Wrecked Him with their song Enemy at the Gates.
Fuck me, my head is messed up. I don't wanna think of this anymore. I've surrendered all my heart to you. You were playing a dangerous game and the enemy was standing at the gate and never thought you'd ever let him through. You shot me down. You returned my back for a second, but when that short time you made your move.
In this context, the title "Enemy at the Gates" paired with this music it just sounds so incel to me. It's like crazy. I also do like the opening line "fuck me." That's like actually would be evocative if it was in like a 90s pop punk song. In the context of ska, it's just like very confusing and strange.
You're right.
But anyways,
that's out there for a pop punk band. Like, take that. That's a cool opening.
Yeah. But I don't know if that band exists or not. Wrecked Him. Apparently it does, but there's no other record of this band at all, and there's only 72 plays. So shout out to Wrecked Him. Potentially going to have a lot of 3-1-G fans sniffing around your shows after they hear you on this podcast. So I was really disappointed with like the lack of pun play that I was finding in terms of like how this is just out there, this double, triple, quadruple entendre. And so I just straight up searched the actual word rectum on Bandcamp, and it paid off really well. So,
Yeah.
I found this band called Rectum Fly, which kind of reminds me. Have we ever talked about Stutter Fly before? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I think we have. Maybe,
Foam 100 and the
you should
Hand
do it
played
again
with-
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Stutterfly was like a Christian metalcore band, I think.
They were pretty
I
popular
feel like
too.
they were like From Autumn to Ashes, kind of maybe, but like From Autumn to Ashes just seems extremely Christian, but then Stutterfly also had that going for them. But I think they signed to Maverick Records, like Madonna's label, that was weirdly signing everyone in Canada for a year.
But they also
Fuck
did
is
like
going
Deftones and Story of the Year.
I would love to just talk to Mike Bullard about Maverick Records. I feel like that's sort of the same time. You know what I mean? Like, they definitely went to some CanCon parties together.
Yeah, totally. Well, this is a reason to have him on the pod then. Now you've got an excuse.
I know. Seriously, DM me and tell me what I should do. Anyone who wants to weigh in, I need your moral guidance here. I don't know what's the right thing. Somebody told me that I was like Bill Maher. Someone said I was like Bill Maher when I had Leo Diho on, and I was like, that's like the deepest cut I've ever felt. So I don't want to do too much hearing both sides, but also it's Mike Bullard.
But you're not like having him on
Twitter
to talk about like stalking and how he's innocent. I mean, you're having him on.
You know it. Okay.
To talk about Maverick Records.
How am I not going to ask him that? Anyways, Stutterfly, we're not going to play. We're going to play Rectum Fly. And so Rectum Fly is from Seattle, Washington. This was released in 2003, unless they're lying on here. I don't know. But so the album is Rectum Fly. The artist is Rectum Fly. Here's the rules of Rectum Fly. Every song is a different style. Each song is written and recorded in an hour, and it must say Rectum Fly at least once. So there's like Rectum Fly's Worldwide Bump and Grind, Rectum Fly All Around the World, Flight of Rectum Fly, Dirty Southern Rectum Fly. There's so many songs. I mean, I want you to pick because you're having a rough go of it. I want you to pick what number should we do?
I want to hear number 6, Rectum Fly USA.
Oh wow. Okay, here we go. Rectum Fly USA by Rectum Fly from the album Rectum Fly. Cooking.
Desperados, don't habitual crime. The place I'm describing is still surviving, sitting somewhere in time. The foul smell of death and the books that you kept, 6 feet heavy in grime. A town with more layers and no more construction, where all rectified and went back to work.
I think I heard him say we're all rectum fly.
Yeah.
I think to get more of a taste, let's listen to Rectum Fly Up Your Ass, number 12. I'm gonna argue that every song is actually the exact same style, which is like creepy lurker music.
Yeah. Can we listen to Human Chum Rectum Fly? I'm sorry, I'm like really enjoying this.
Sure. Here we go. Human Chum Rectum Fly. I just realized how the locusty of this art is also, like, in a sort of a budget way. But,
yeah. Yo, Rectum Fly fucking rocks.
So there's 18 tracks. Hit up rectumfly.bandcamp.com if you want to check out the rest of the great Rectum Fly Odyssey. And now, Sam, would you like to get into some covers?
I would love to, man. I'm feeling great now. That was...
That really got you warmed up. Well, hopefully I can make you feel a little bit worse.
Oh, that's
with
fine.
Some of these covers.
I took some stuff that I think's kicking in, so I'm just, I'm good now.
You're just floating.
I'm very chill. It was like last night, like same thing. I was like feeling terrible and like sorry for myself and shit. And I got home and I'd taken a capsule and then I might have taken some drops and then I like hit the pen and then just like sort of sat around while Ashley finished up an episode of MasterChef. And at one point, when they introduced the ingredients, whatever, this guy was just like looking at the ingredients and okay, we've got this, oh, we've got these beautiful long beans, and he was like so obsessed with how long these beans were, and I like probably didn't stop laughing for like 5 minutes just thinking about like this guy was so excited with these long beans, and I feel the same way about Rectum Fly tonight. Like I'm just like Rectum Fly is my long beans, and I'm grateful.
I mean, long beans is just an objectively funny phrase.
That's what I'm saying,
too.
Right? I'm really glad you get it, because I was just like...
I'm bone sober, and long beans is funny.
Okay.
So.
Thanks, man.
All right, this one I think might hit you right in the feels. It's some extremely suburban boys. I feel like one of them is wearing ankle socks. They're in like an unfinished basement. They're practicing Rectum for the Battle of the Bands that they played in 2007, 2008. This is Matt Band. I'm just gonna go ahead and start by saying that the top comment is, "Why would you even upload this? You can't hear nothing but distortion." Actually, I'm gonna read them all. "You suck at drums, the bassist, the best." Yeah, it was. I remember that piece of shit now. Wow, we had such a shitty camera, and they do a keyboard smash. Good sound quality, says John Doe. Very funny. Someone calls it ears rape, and someone says fucking awful. Can't hear fuck all. And these are just like this has been up on the internet for 10 years, and these comments are years apart. So really a full decade of vitriol for the Matt Band.
And who's like clicking on this clearly like shitty video of three guys in a basement and then being like a little disappointed in the sound quality? Was expecting more separation.
Well,
like, what the fuck?
I think I might have one idea of who could be clicking on that and commenting that. Okay, here we go.
It's going. It's recording. Finish it on the
Ooh, how do those like tiny PV practice amps sound so ear piercing sometimes?
This is the perfect tone.
Sounds good to me. honestly think that is the perfect sound. What is it called? Like in
so
Vine
good.
when they would like make the fuck, I'm too old. But you know when they would make songs like sound like they're exploding on Vine? Like there's that like there must be a term for it. But anyways, it sounded like one of those Vine videos. I also would love to see I was talking about how the sort of nerdy normie trends come back in style when things get popular again. So I think when like 2000s era stuff comes back, there should be a band that's a 3-piece rock band where they all wear basketball shorts and ankle socks and no shoes. And maybe like the stage could be like exposed insulation, and the bassist is always sitting. And they're wearing like weird like Banff t-shirts with stickmen on them, or like a fucking Groovin shirt.
And at some point, like one of their parents comes out on stage with like a snack plate.
Yeah, that could be I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
So people really didn't like that one, and I think this one is arguably even more insane and bad. And this is from 2008. It's uploaded by DHAMMED with sort of, there's a lot of the SpongeBob voice alternating capital letters on here, despite it being from 2008. Jordano Rice has commented, "Nice men." I think they meant to say "nice man." But anyways, this is an acoustic cover, and it's quite unhinged, so I'm going to play it for you. Okay, I actually never made it to the singing before. That is incredibly charming.
Yeah, it was fucking great.
Like, it's so good and so bad also, but good. Love it. Great feeling to watch that one. But there are a lot of okay. There's a lot, for some reason there's a lot of like little kids doing terrible covers of this song and not much else. Maybe they love the pun. This is also from 2008. Maybe there was like some sort of challenge to cover it on like what did people go on back then, like a Club Penguin or something? Or like, oh, let's upload.
Holy shit!
I don't know, but like within the same year, these two little kids uploaded. This is by Suuki, Suukkii covers. It's from August 9th, 2008. This is a rare song of Blink-182. Pretty hard to catch the beat. I stopped many times in the video to catch the beat again. Please comment. They've written please comment, which is not a good idea because people have written, dude, you suck.
Oh.
Almost all is wrong. You need to practice a lot. You're horrible. And then this great comment from Joe Schmo from a year ago, which is also what I would like to know. I'm gonna like this one. He just said, "I wonder where you are now." Isn't that beautiful?
No, just like, how are you worried about messaging Jake the Snake, but like Joe Schmo saying, "I wonder where you are now" to Suki covers.
Well, no,
like
I think the thing is, I would absolutely love to, like, in 11 years from now, like what's happening, or I guess this was 10 years later for Joe Schmo. In 10 years, I would love to meet up with Jake the Snakester and be like we could do like a special revisit Blink-155 revisited Snake Charmer. And then I'll have a sit down and be like, so, tell me what was it like? Maybe we could both be smoking cigarettes while we do it. It's like a Frost v. Nixon kind of thing. It's like a documentary that we release. But, I mean, I'd rather wait until sort of Jake the Snakester is an adult so that I'm not just, like, trying to DM a child on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're respecting
like
the laws of the nation. That's good.
when you have the sentence, I want to DM this child on YouTube, you have to really like zoom out a little bit and be like, maybe I should not do that. Maybe I'll talk to the guy from the Locust instead. You know, like there's nothing like actual people we could talk to.
He's not going to listen to this, is he?
I mean, we'll see.
The Locust is one of the only bands, and maybe the only band that's ever walked out on an interview with me. which I think we've discussed on the pod before.
We have discussed it, and I was thinking about it the whole time that he didn't hang up on me and loved talking to me. So I think we know who the problem is, perhaps.
Yeah.
So please watch the best part about this Suki covers bass video is that he starts with the devil horns, and this is just like a true boy. Like, this is like a boy. He's got, it looks like there's like a elliptical there's an elliptical behind him. He's wearing like some sort of
like every boy loves.
Yeah, like he's in the computer room, obviously. The bass looks enormous in his tiny boy hands, and he's wearing like a I would say his shirt is from like San or something. You know, it's like 2008 boy clothes. But it starts with him doing the devil horns at the camera, which is probably the best part of the video. But boy does this boy, he was not wrong about not being able to catch the beat. Things considered, though, he's actually pretty good at bass.
I mean, for such a boy's boy, or whatever you called him.
All right, I'm going to give you one more boy, and then I got 2 actual covers. But before that, and mostly I just want to talk about this boy's guitar, because it's such a boy's guitar. Only a boy would have a nice guitar and then put a Guitar Hero sticker on his guitar. I mean, that's so boyish. He's got a Guitar Hero sticker. He's got an emoji sticker. He's got like some sort of skate video, a sticker of a skate video. Like, it looks like a hidden tape from Tony Hawk. I bet you that's what it's from, probably. Like Tony Hawk Deluxe Edition or something. And he's also got a tiny Guns N' Roses sticker on his guitar. This is Diamond Shelkov. And this is his cover of Rectum. But again, like, these boys, despite their aesthetic mistakes of putting terrible stickers on things, or I mean, I don't know where to begin with that last boy, but pretty good at guitar, this boy. That is how the song was meant to be heard, though.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Just like a boy, just heard through the fingertips of a lad. So that was that boy, and now for the non-boy content, we should have a section called the boy zone. The boy zone.
Which was that? That was like a British group, right? Who was that? Irish.
Yeah, I think it was.
An Irish boy band.
I wish I could remember.
Oh. Who's your favorite member of Boyzone, Josiah? Mine is definitely Keith Duffy.
Let's see here. Boyzone.
He's definitely going to be the canceled one for sure.
Well, you've got Stephen. I mean, this is just off the top of my head. I know you've got, in addition to Keith Duffy, you've got Stephen Gately, Ronan Keating, Shane Lynch, Don Mescal, and Darren Holden. And really, it's hard to pick because you need all of the boys in order for Boyzone to work.
Well, otherwise it's not a zone. It's just boy.
And another fact that I don't even have my browser open right now, but I'm just sort of off the top of my head, I will say they have had 21 singles in the top 40 UK charts. So that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Something to just kind of know and remember.
Yeah, no, that's cool knowledge.
Wait, actually, oh fuck. I have too many Word docs open.
Okay,
I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this.
Facts in your brain.
No, I just have like so many addresses for merch. This is going to end so badly. Okay, I'm going to play you this cover, this 8-bit cover. This is uploaded by X47 Excuses. It sounds very nice 8-bit. Here we go. Sounds pretty good.
That's sick.
It's a pretty childish melody, I guess.
Yeah, but it does feel
just
very
so
Dude
lost.
Ranchy. Like, it does feel very, like...
Yeah.
Like, just, like, broken down and kind of isolated like that a bit.
It kind of sucks now that we've realized there's, like, you know, like, Degenerate, like, we could do without that on Dude Ranch, and then knowing that this existed at the same time, like, what were you thinking, guys? Just swap them out.
Yeah.
Just swap them out.
Just give him a couple swappers.
Just do a little swap.
Little swapper.
Okay. I found this the other day, and this is way off topic, except it's not really, but have you ever heard of this song? Because it's unbelievable. I was just, for the
why would
Montreal
I know that this
video
exists?
Well, I mean, I didn't know if this is a song that, like, everyone knows except for me, because it has millions of views. I have all these blind spots, but I don't think anyone knows about this. I was just, like, doing research for the Montreal live show for my masterpiece that I've created that everyone's going to get to see. And I just stumbled across this by searching, like, the word punk rock or something, and I can't believe it. So this is by Sandy Tom, and it's called I Wish I Was a Punk Rocker with Flowers in My Hair. Well, I'm going to play it. There's a music video as well. It's so good.
Oh, I wish I was a punk rocker with flowers in my hair. In 77 and 69, revolution was in the air. I was born too late into a world that doesn't care. Oh, I wish I was a punk rocker with flowers in my hair. When the head of state didn't play guitar, not everybody drove a car. When music really mattered and when radio was king. When accountants didn't have control and the media couldn't buy your soul. When computers were still scary and we didn't know everything. Oh, I wish I was a punk rocker with flowers in my hair. 77 and 69, revolution was in the air. I was born too late to a world that doesn't care. Oh, I wish I was a punk rocker with flowers in my hair. When pop stars still remained a myth and ignored.
Oh my god, I gotta skip ahead a little bit. She mentions vinyl later on.
7 and 69, revolution was in the air. I was born too late to a world that doesn't care. Oh, I wish I was a punk rocker with flowers in my hair. When record shops were still on top and vinyl was all that they stopped.
Hell yeah. So this song is from 2005. I am just baffled by everything about it. I mean, she clearly is getting punk rock confused somehow with, like, Woodstock or something.
Yo, this song was a #1 song in the UK and in Australia. #1 in Australia, Ireland, Scotland, UK singles.
It knocked Gnarls Barkley's Crazy off the charts.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So according to Wikipedia, in the criticism section of Reception, it says, Tom has been the subject of criticism by many artists within the recording world, most notably from Lily Allen, the Fratellis, and The Automatic. James Frost and Robin Hawkins from The Automatic stated that if she was a punk rocker with flowers in her hair, she'd get the shit kicked out of her by other punk rockers for having flowers in her hair. I haven't found anyone who's told me they liked that song and bought it. Charlie Brooker, a.k.a. creator of Black Mirror and cultural critic, also heavily criticized the intense public relations effort to make the single popular. So I think this was like a label plant trying to be like, I mean, what is this? What happened? And it was produced by Ian Brown from the Stone Roses also.
This is the most popular song in Australia in the year 2006. Like, this wasn't just a #1 song, it was the most popular song in Australia in 2006.
What's wrong with you people? Australians? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it. And I think the way that it's like vocals and it kind of like almost was like a fight song vibe or like proto-pink maybe.
Well, because the way it
like,
starts, like without any instrumentals, was very confusing because you were just like, okay, blah, blah, blah. And then you started playing it. And for like a full second, I was like, is Josiah singing? And then like for another second, I was like, does Josiah have the voice of an angel? Because it's just all coming over. It sounds the fucking same as like you talking.
The best part is the song also, okay, not only is it about punk rock, not only is it about like somehow this idealized version of like she's saying it was better. There was no bankers or something back then. Is that what she said? Like something insane like that. And then not only is that the aspect of it, not only was it produced by Ian Brown, not only does it talk about vinyl's making a comeback and the creator of Black Mirror doesn't like it. These are all factors making me love this song so much. But it's also inspired by, in 2005, how everyone's on their phones too much. Because the inspiration section of Wikipedia, Tom has said on her website that she wrote the song after being robbed of her mobile phone and other belongings one evening, leaving her completely lost and without any way of contacting her family, friends, or the bank. She said, "I wondered if that had happened to me back in the days of the hippies, what would I have done, and would I have freaked out so much?" What? So then where did the punk rocker thing come from? Does she think she's a punk rocker at this point? But then she's like, if I was still currently the same level of punk rocker that I am now, but also had flowers in my hair?
Yeah, that was the change she was looking for.
Oh my God. So that's the best song ever. Maybe we'll just start a podcast about the cultural influence of that song when we're done this.
When my mom and dad were in their teens. Like, why do you want that?
This is incredible.
I wish my mom and dad were smaller.
Her album, look at her album. It's like absolutely a mommy drinks wine and swears type album. It's called Smile ... It confuses people. Damn, she rules. Shout out to Sandy Tom. Do you want to come on the pod? Let me know.
Yeah, if we're gonna have Mike Bullard on, you probably got to balance the scales with Sandy Tom.
Maybe you could do a panel discussion about. Okay, finally, I'm gonna play you an actual pretty good cover.
Cool.
This is just like an actual nice pop punk cover, and it's sort of like I was worried that there wasn't gonna be one that like had some nice personality to it, and maybe still there's not enough that I'll have to cover it one day with Chris Dadge and Daryl. But we'll see. This is uploaded by -3 on SoundCloud. Again, people love to comment about this. Someone has written an awesome cover. Someone else has written "This shit is ass" on here. So that's, I mean, is that a bad thing? Maybe not. Maybe it's some sort of double or triple entendre. We'll never know. But this is -3 with their version of Wrecked Him. I almost like it better than the original, which doesn't happen very often, but I just love that, like, vibe. I don't know, it reminds me of what I remember the Ergs sounding like, maybe, or like totally. Just kind of, like, dorky pop punk. It's so good.
Yeah, that was really great. -3. I wanted, like...
They have, like, a whole bunch of songs.
I wonder if... I almost don't want to hear them, though, because there's no way they're going to be that good.
Well, maybe we should hear one. Okay. Oh, they also covered emo, so we can save that for that episode. Okay. I'm never going to find that again.
Yeah, well, let's do one of their ridges.
Oh, let's listen to their song "Sheets." That's perfect for you, because you love to put so many sheets to the wind. It looks like they do a lot of old Blink covers. That's so cool. Okay, this is "Sheets."
This morning, realized you were next to me. Real back
I love this band.
Holy shit.
Is this them? I think it is. They definitely are like, yeah, they're from Connecticut.
This is definitely the same band.
Artists we also like: Blink-182, Sum 41, 311, The Strokes, The Aquabats, Iron Maiden. So this is not at all like self-aware. It's just like they accidentally made like a sick 90s pop punk band.
No, they're not doing like too cool
rule.
shit. Yeah, Less Than Jake, like Pearl Jam. I mean, they're not naming like cool cat bands.
Yeah, shout out to -3.
Yo.
Wow, I want to spend some more time with that SoundCloud.
It reminds me of like Scooped Up. You know that other band's
totally.
like, oh shit, someone's like doing it. I'm gonna look them up on Apple Music now.
We need to do another comp, I think, with just these bands. We've already talked about it. So before we do our final thoughts, I was trying to think of a way to piece this together with the guest. And so I found this PDF that's all about studies on a locust's rectum. And so I thought that would be a helpful thing. But I don't really understand it, except the layout's really nice because it's from 1979.
Ooh, it looks cool, yeah.
It's just like that kind of like faded print look where you just feel smart from having it open. But this is a very scientific document. Studies on locust rectum, stimulants of electrogenic ion transport by J.H. Spring and J.E. Phillips from UBC, actually. So shout out to UBC and all of their locust rectum studies over there. Sam, what are your final thoughts on rectum?
I cannot believe how good this song is. I wish it was on Dude Ranch because I wish this was a song that I felt like a more of an affinity for or like familiarity with. But like, damn, this song really unwrecked me tonight. It's in my brain too. I got brain sores.
Welcome to Blink-155. I can't really believe this. This is a dream come true. I've wanted to talk to you forever. We've got Justin Pearson here from 31G, from the Locust, from Swing Kids, from all kinds of shit. Thank you so much for coming on our Blink-182 podcast.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, what are you up to today?
Everything. I actually do a podcast called Cult and Culture, so we premiered one of the episodes today. So I was just hustling, like getting that stuff, like promoting it and stuff like that. And then I went to like this kind of insane yoga class, and then I came back to my house, and FedEx delivered a pallet of records and left them in the sun. So it's like,
oh shit!
It's just been a fucking lame, weird, like not lame, but just kind of like it's just been one of those days.
One of those days. Do you ever feel like that you just wish that you had sold out by now or something? Like, I mean, getting a pallet of records must be frustrating.
Well, it's frustrating in the sense that I wish they went to the web store and to our distributor, but they didn't want the full pressing. So it's like I kind of got a lot. It's weird. It's tricky because sometimes I'm like, this record's gonna sell better. You should probably take more, but I can't like force like our distributor to take more copies or whatever. But it is what it is. And then I mean, at least it's not like the pressing plant's cool and stuff. It's just FedEx. I'm like, I specifically messaged the person and I said, don't leave it, in the sun. And they did, but whatever. I mean, if they're damaged, I guess there's insurance and stuff. I mean, it's just kind of like one of those things where you're like, oh yeah, nothing's ever going to really kind of go right. And you gotta like, I guess that's part of the reason why I go to yoga and stuff, just to like, all right, I'll just let it go. Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, they'll reimburse me at some point,
For sure. Yeah. So
whatever.
The reason that I kind of thought that you'd be good for this podcast, even though you definitely probably are the last person who wants to talk about this, but I found this documentary that I haven't watched yet, but it's called It's Gonna Blow. And just watching the trailer alone, I was like, wait a minute. Like, the guys in Blink-182 are the same age and grew up in the same city as like all these quote actual cool bands. Like it's just baffling to me that it's even that the timelines could even cross over at all. So I'm baffled by it. I want to know more about like what San Diego was like back then and kind of your whole vibe. But first of all, I want to ask you, like, what was your introduction to punk?
I think it would have had to have been like probably Thrasher skateboarding magazine. So I'm trying to do the math. Like in like 80, so like 83 maybe. I got my first skateboard or my first Thrasher magazine, and so it's kind of like seeing like Pushead artwork and stuff like that, and like the Misfits, and then kind of like I don't know, like I remember just being into skateboarding and like seeing like I saw this video, I think it was Lance Mountain, and he had a Sam Hain sticker on his helmet, and I was like, what's that? You know, and then so I ended up buying the Thrasher skate rock comps, and then you know that had Septic Death on it and a bunch of other awesome bands. So then I think that was kind of like that was the I think you said gateway thing earlier with the Locust. So I think like Thrasher was probably my gateway thing to punk, you know.
Right.
Yeah, so Thrasher was like smoking weed, and then I guess punk was like just shooting dope. You know, it's like, all right, I got to get to the real deal. So
right.
That's it for me. But you're go on.
Well, I was just gonna say, like even just looking at your Wikipedia or looking at you on Discogs or whatever, I'm trying to like. For people like me who grew up in the suburbs and like, yes, I got into the Locust and I learned about cool things and I fronted like I was deep into Load Records for a while and I got into all that kind of stuff. But I also like loved like pop music and mainstream things. And there's a lot of corny shit that I liked when I was a teenager. When I'm looking at your life, I don't see what was your like embarrassing phase that now you look back on and you're like, oh, I was a dork.
I mean, to be honest, like, it's kind of weird. Like, this comes up often where, like, the other day, like, I had this new band called Death Club, and we were rehearsing. We were talking about doing a cover, and I was, like, saying that we should do we were going to maybe do an Oingo Boingo cover, and I was like, that's cool. And I was like, what about Britney Spears? And they thought I was joking, but I'm, like, dead fucking serious. And, I mean, I don't think I'd really listen to, like, a Britney record or something, but, like, I think that, like, there's, like, cultural or like I guess historical relevance to what she is, and I was like, oh, that'd be cool. Like that would just be like really fucked up for like a thrash band to like incorporate her music or interpret her music in some certain way. But so I don't know. I kind of just grew up like going like, well, I like this shit, and I also like this other stuff, and like I never knew what like the concept of cool was, and so like it's funny like hearing you say like you fronted that you were like really into Load Records. Like, I mean, I was also really into Load Records, but it's just weird to like, I never knew that I had to like sort of like
well, I think
anything. I kind of was just like, I'm into fucked up shit, or I'm like into like all these other random shit, and like I don't care what anybody thinks.
Yeah, for sure. Like for me, I think liking Blink-182 was for a while the most contrarian thing I could do with like friends and punk and hardcore bands. They're like, how could you possibly like this? Whereas I genuinely did like Load Records, but I had to like train myself to get into that. So it was like a hurdle for my brain as a teen or whatever.
Okay. So yeah, I guess I understand what you're saying. Like, so for me, it was like fucked up and like instilled in us that we were like, we had to like, there's like no way we could like that shit, and like I jokingly, like Gabe would always call like like your typical pop punk beat, it's called like the forbidden beat, and like at rehearsal, if we were fucking around with the Locust stuff, and Gabe would play it and be like, oh, ruin that, like there goes that, we just ruined that song we were writing, like just kind of like, but it's just like, I think for me personally, I mean, it's weird because I think they were a few years older than me. I could be wrong, but there was like all these little like ties to them, and so it was interesting because I don't think I've ever met them. I'm sure I've been at like shows and stuff that they played or whatever.
I was thinking you've probably met Matt Skiba, who's in the band now. Is there a chance that you've maybe met him? He seems like a little bit more of a head. Oh, maybe not. Okay. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. No, I mean, maybe. Well, it's kind of weird because this could be like an urban legend or something, but like, and I guess someone that listens to this can like email Gabe or message Gabe or something, but like I was told that they were going to get him to play drums. I don't think Travis Barker was the original drummer, right?
No,
Was there a drummer? Yeah.
There was a guy, Scott Raynor,
so he
before.
was supposed. yeah, I guess they got like they needed a drummer, and they were gonna and he was from Poway, and so they were gonna get him to play drums. And he was just like, fuck that, and, and like didn't do it. and so, which just seems like insane in itself, but it's also coming from a guy who I think he tried out for Helmet and like couldn't hang because it was too simple, so like, that's just how it is. But also I think like, again, like there is a stigma attached to it for certain artists and stuff. And it, I just kind of like, I don't know. For me, I just never could really get into like the soft side of punk.
Right.
It just seemed like there was no edge to it. Like, it doesn't have to be like, not even necessarily musically, but like it just seemed like it didn't. I feel like to me, punk is like there's two things. There's punk rock and there's punk. So I would say that they were punk rock. And it's like kind of cute and like bubbly and like it's like acceptable to your parents and like shit like that, or like kids can like it or whatever. Like for me, I wanted something that was like dangerous and like not like that's gonna like be like sort of combative to someone, and I felt like I don't know if Blink was like combative to anything at all,
Right.
So that was, I mean, which is fine for them, but like, so they fit more into like the realm of like what Britney Spears is to me, but I prefer listening to Britney over Blink, I guess. But
yeah, fair.
I think musically though, I there's more to certain artists, and I don't know. I guess, and it's just like hit the whiny shit. Kind of like, dude, what the fuck are you whining about, man? Like, I don't know. Like,
is there like?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh no, please. We dunk on Blink all the time because I still like, especially talking to you. I feel very embarrassed for how much I like Blink-182, but I think
Dude, you shouldn't be embarrassed. I just thought, I mean, the only thing when we were talking about this, I'm like, I'm the wrong person to this fucking podcast, but like, I don't think you should be embarrassed. Like, you do your thing and that's cool. Like, fuck everybody else, like that's
for sure.
I think that's how life should be.
Absolutely.
So,
but no, it's like,
yeah.
I think also there's something that's happened culturally, which is like poptimism, where everyone is like, oh, it's fun to like pop things. But then I was just, so like the song we talked about this week is called Rectum, which was released in 1995. And then I was looking on the 301G YouTube and I found the Locust playing in 1995 at Zed Records. And I still can't imagine these two timelines coexisting of like this sort of jock frat boy pop music and then just like the Locust jamming in a record store.
Yeah, I mean, that was like, especially then too. I mean, we all had such shitty attitudes and like we were like, we fucking hated the world at that point, So I feel like there's no way we could have, coexisted. And not that I'm proud of that. There's no fucking way, because it was kind of like we had this like us against them mentality, like, and I think that like a lot of, like punk ethics kind of have that. Like we had something that we were fighting against or fighting for, I guess, and where I don't know if maybe Blink did. I don't know enough about them, but I just thought like, damn, these guys are just kind of soft. I don't know, and like that, and it just never got to me. It's funny too because like playing Zed Records was like where I met like the Festival of Dead Deer and like. Eventually all the guys that, started playing in Le Shock and stuff like that. But like, I mean, the Festival of Dead Deer is a good example too. I mean, that is like such a fucking evil band. And then like, just also their musicianship is awesome. And so it's just, if you kind of like are exposed to stuff like that at the same time that, that Blink is happening, you're just like, dude, I'm into the gnarly shit. Like this is really, really good, So
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's just even more aesthetically. I just can't believe like the mid 90s. It's just so bizarre how many different things are happening at once. And this documentary that you were both interviewed in called "It's Gonna Blow," I still need to watch it. I have not done enough research, but it seems like they're painting it as like San Diego was so small, so there was mixed bills, so all these bands were mingling together. Do you feel like it wasn't really like that, or?
Okay, that's a really interesting observation. I mean, San Diego is very small, and so I think like there's a quote in that movie from Ian McKay. I think it's in that movie where he talks about how like he equates it to like DC, like in relation to New York, and so like San Diego's kind of like that with Los Angeles. And he's saying how like it's just outside of like all of the stuff to where you can kind of like fuck around and do weird shit and like let things marinate and create something that's like completely unique. And I think that did happen in San Diego, but that whole like kind of idea would probably I guess from Ian's or from my perception, like with Ian, it would be like Fugazi, that happened, or like in San Diego, it's like Drive Like Jehu, you know, and like then there's the Drive Like Jehu thing because, you know, Mark Trombino produced the Blink record or whatever, and so like there's like that whole tie. But I feel like in my mind, I keep thinking like, you know, if the guys in Blink like were aware of Drive Like Jehu, why would they just not like push themselves in a different direction, you know? And but I mean, everyone's into their own thing or whatever, and but it is like a unique city because, you know, you could see pop punk bands with grindcore bands or like a cumbia band or hip hop or whatever, and it was totally acceptable, you know. I mean, maybe we didn't like each other's bands musically, but everyone was friends, and I think that was kind of like the thing, because like there was a common thread, and I'm sure there was a common there is a common thread with fucking Blink-182 because they did like a split with my friends from this band Swindle, and you know, I mean, there's just maybe aesthetically, like I can't, you know, relate to them, and they probably can't relate to the Locust, and that's fine, you know, and that's cool. But like everyone would found a way to coexist, and I think that's a kind of a radder thing than like if we were, you know, this is our scene and that's your scene, and like don't mix, you know. I don't know, like because right. You know, when it comes down to like how fucked up humans are, I mean, we have more in common than we do, you know, than our differences. So like people, you know, that like hate each other, I'm sure there's some kind of common grounds. I mean, here I am trying to think like all these like white nationalists, and I'm like, no, I don't have common ground. But right. There might be something like with some fucked up people where we're like, hey, like we both are like, you know, in a fight and we hate each other, and you're this and I'm that and this and this and that, but we agree on all these other things. Like, can we just chill the fuck out and like focus on that? Especially if we're trying to like, you know, coexist in a small city or something, you know? Yeah.
I think another thing that you might have in common that maybe you'll hate it if I say it, but there is like a sense of humor to your work, especially back then, that I think does kind of cross-pollinate a little bit. There's like, you know, some wordplay, some puns, and just kind of like, but I think with the Locust, it was more like, I dare you to not take us seriously while we have a song called, you know, whatever it might have been.
Yeah, well, I do think that, but I mean, I think like the humor thing kind of just came out of nowhere for me, and probably for most of us in the Locust. But it was we tried to be, instead of like having like fart jokes, we tried to be a little bit more, I guess, highbrow with the humor stuff that or like maybe not highbrow, but like maybe just more obscure, where you're like, what the fuck, like, right? You know, like they're talking about gluing carpet, you know, to their genitals or whatever, like, you know, like that's just. Where are we going with this? You know, and like I kind of think that might be. I don't know what it would be. I mean, you know, this is pre like Adult Swim or something, but I feel like, you know, the idea of what Adult Swim is today kind of it like encapsulates what the Locust like always was doing. You know, just like this, just fucking like if we were like on drugs, and well, I guess most of the people in the Locust were on drugs, but like just shit that was like weird and like not making sense. Probably to even us half the time, you know, but you, right. But you found like, but you know, it was like, it wasn't that it was like lighthearted, but it was like, you could kind of laugh and you could kind of ponder it, or you could just like not laugh and not ponder, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like, for sure. It wasn't like No Effects where we're like, hey, we're going to just be like a total fart joke band. And like, and never, you know, and like, and then when you try to like go back and you're like, I don't know, like when NoFX is like, not my president, and they're like anti-Bush, you're like, dude, you're like the fart band. Like that, how the fuck, like, how am I going to, like, ooh, spooky, you know, like Fat Mike is against the president. Like, you know, where like, for me, it's like, oh, you know, I'm looking at like the Weathered Underground or something where there's like people that are like, you know, legitimate, like terrorists that are like fucking up the U.S. government. Like that's like, so then like, I think that it just depends, you know, on like where you draw your influences from and what you're sort of, I guess, not necessarily influences, but like what you're exposed to. I think that's really important. And so again, like, you know, maybe with Blink, you know, they were in Poway, which wasn't like necessarily in San Diego. So they, you know, they kind of maybe missed like all of the Gravity Records bands, which I think was between Gravity Records and like Drive Like Jehu and like Crash Worship and stuff. I feel like San Diego's just fucking amazing, you know? And so then there are things like Blink-182, and I'm like, wow, where did that come from? Like, how do they not like shift into like a more gnarly or obscure weirdo like vibe, you know? But maybe because they weren't necessarily like living in the backyard with everybody else. You know, they were kind of like 45 minutes away or something.
Well, the hilarious thing is they've been teasing their new album. This is a perfect thing to be telling you. There is a quote that apparently the new album has blast beats on one of the songs. So the forbidden beat has been replaced with, maybe that's the Locust influence right there.
Yeah, like 20 years too late, though. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, the other thing about this weird cross section, I really want to ask you about specifically. I saw that I need to pick this up now, but I saw that you actually wrote a book about this. But the other weird thing that like has happened with sort of your scene and like Ebullition and Dim Mak and stuff is this move into EDM, which is like arguably the hugest form of being a rock star possible. And like, how did that happen? And what's the deal with, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what my question is. It's just, I find it insane that somehow EDM happened with all of this.
I mean, I think that maybe it might have come out of left field for some people, but I mean, I grew up listening to like Nights of Reb and Ministry and, you know, Skinny Puppy and stuff like that. And it was, and even like, man, even like hearing 6 Sputnik, you know, and like, there was like, this kind of insane thing where there was like these synthetic sounds that were very, I mean, I grew up like obsessing over Star Wars and like Battlestar Galactica and shit. So it was kind of like that. It had like a science fiction element to it, you know, a lot of these like synthetic sounds. So I think that, you know, without realizing it, and now in retrospect, I can look back, but like everybody in the Locust kind of like tried to embody that element. Like we were trying to disguise every instrument. So like when you listen to, you know, I mean, even before playing Soundscapes, when you listen to like, you know, stuff like Flight of the Wounded Locust, there's a ton of like weird shit going on with like effects and stuff. And so I think, you know, it just seemed kind of natural. And then at some point it was like, oh, there's DJs and that's a thing. And like, then it was just like sort of, I guess, EDM or DJ culture where that just like sort of took over, you know, and it was, and it took a while to like get it to be like abrasive and stuff. And I mean, even before like, you know, Steve Aoki was a household name, I think like, you know, we were all like friends with Atari Teenage Riot, and I think Gabe, you know, worked with them a little bit with Alec Empire and stuff. So I mean, it wasn't like that far off in our you know, I guess in our view of things. It just kind of happened, and then it kind of became like cheesy or like whatever, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, like formulaic, you know, like and then it was just like there was no, you know, because if you look at something like Atari Teenage Riot and then you look at like, I don't know, fucking Steve Aoki's shit, it's night and day. There's you can't really compare the two, you know, and so but you know, to like industry standards, maybe they both fall into the same category. I don't know. I'll leave that to the owners of the record labels and stuff, but
yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It's just very bizarre. Like growing up reading Heart Attack, and then now those people are like, you know, someone like Steve has like a private jet or whatever. It's just like amazing. And I guess that's my other question is like, do you have a concept of what selling out is or isn't, or is that something that you care about, or is that kind of just like a idealistic thing?
I don't know. I mean, I've been told I've sold out 1 million times. I mean, fuck, the Locust supposedly sold out when we signed to Anti. I mean, we got shit on by everyone. And then as soon as Converge and Dillinger put out records on Epitaph proper, it was like acceptable that we were on Anti. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I don't, selling out would be like, I don't know what that would even mean. Like, I'm open to, I don't necessarily need to limit myself to certain things in life, and I'm open to change, or I'm open to like experimenting. And, you know, I guess unfortunately for me, I haven't experimented in the right way, because I obviously don't own a private jet. So that would be, I guess, you know, but I mean, like, fuck, whatever, like a dude who has like, you know, I guess I don't know, like, I don't know that much about Steve, you know, but like, probably comes from a different like financial bracket than I do, you know. So like he starts a label and then starts this like career as a DJ, and then like his thing is to like, you know, get a boogie board or a fucking blow up boat and like shoot like whipped cream and shit or whatever it is, or you know, whatever. Like it's not really musical, you know. But then you can go back and be like, well, neither was Gigi Allen, you know. So it's kind of the same thing, like, but one dude's getting paid and one dude's shooting heroin and dying in prison or whatever, you know? So it's, I don't know. It's like, I mean, I don't want to compare the two because I think maybe, I don't know. They both have legitimacy, but like, you know, and I guess I'm more, you know, sort of, interested in something that like something like Gigi Allen than like Steve Aoki, but they are very similar, you know, where you kind of like hide your, I guess, lack of musical talent with other things, but then you become an artist in that sense, you know, like cause it's like, I don't even know how to write music. Like maybe I'm not even a musician. Like I winged it and like fuck with it and like hope that like it doesn't, you know, hope for like some sort of like, I don't know, relevant level of success, you know, like I'm not dead and I can mostly pay my bills. So they're like, maybe I'm like just kind of blurring the lines too, you know. Granted, I don't take a shit and throw it at people, but like probably along the lines of something like that, I suppose. So I don't know. Yeah. It's an interesting world to look at.
It's very strange. And another thing that I just thought of while you were talking, I mean, it's not really the same, but it reminds me of, in a similar way, I think, back then, the Locust especially, but I mean, pretty much everything you do, you were sort of like tongue-in-cheekly, maybe it wasn't tongue-in-cheek, but it seemed like it was like you were all about making novelty merch. And now in this day and age that like it's kind of lost all humor and like a band could just do like a Supreme collaboration or whatever, and it's not really, you know what I mean? Kind of like doing novelty merch back then was totally like, felt like a sort of subversive thing that maybe is not subversive anymore.
Well, okay, so it's like, I think that for me, it was like, I just grew up like hustling, you know, like I would get up in the morning, like when I was a little kid and like Garbage Pail Kids were a thing, like I would like go up and like I would like get up really early and go buy the whole box of them and then I'd borrow the money from my mom, buy a whole box of them, and then fucking, you get like, I don't know, if you buy like a whole box of Garbage Pail Kids, you get like 2 free packs, or it's like a little bit cheaper. And then I would go sell them, you know, at regular cost at school and then like make a couple bucks or whatever and like, and get like free shit. So like, I just kind of like was always figuring out a way to hustle and like do rad stuff and like, I don't know, whatever that might be. So then like, I think that, you know, it just so happened like, you know, merchandise presented itself like, hey, here's 1,000 of these compact mirrors that I'm going to throw away. Do you want these? Well, fuck yeah, I guess so. Let me just put stickers on those and then see if we can sell them, you know? And like, we did. And so that's, I mean, I think it's just like, most people be like, that's trash, I'm going to throw it away. Or most people just wouldn't take like, you know, most people think like A to B to C. And for me, I'm like A to, you know, Z, or A to N, you know, like this is jacked up. Let's just fucking put these two things together and like, let's see what happens. And like, fuck, it helped us out on tour. I'll say that, like, you know, because we were playing to nobody and we were like getting our fucking tires slashed and getting beat up and shit like that, you know? And so it's like, so at the end of the day, it's like, oh, that was cool. Like we like were able to, you know, put an extra tank of gas in our car or like go out to dinner one night and not have to shoplift or whatever, you know? So it's like, there's things like, you know, like it was like weird stuff that presented itself. And I think that we were just kind of open to being like, sort of creative, I guess, you know, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's like a tweaker stealing like the copper out of fucking buildings and shit, you know? I mean, just kind of like, oh, we could sell this, you know? So
right.
I don't know.
That's amazing.
But I mean, what, like nowadays, like, I just don't know if it's the same thing. It doesn't have the same effect. It doesn't have like the same kind of like, I don't even know what the right word is, you know, it just doesn't have the same feel to it. So,
like,
I don't think
it's interesting to hear you say that it's like that because it felt very intentional and it almost felt like you were making a mockery of like Victory Records or something by just like, oh, you guys like merch? Here's a shit ton of weird merch or whatever.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't know if we even thought like that. I thought we were just like trying to like hustle and make ends meet. And we also realized that it made people talk and we're like, that's cool. Like free publicity is really good. This is, you know, pre-internet. So it was really effective to like have everyone be like been out of shape that we had compact mirrors that people were saying were Coke mirrors. It's like, well, fuck, everyone's talking about it. This is really cool. And like, I mean, maybe it wasn't cool because we ended up like getting beat up by straight edgers and shit like that. But it was cool the fact that like everybody was now knowing who the Locust is, you know? And so even it's weird to like go look at Discogs and like see like, oh, GSL, like, you know, pressed 35,000 copies of that LP or whatever it is, you know, it's like, fuck, that's a lot of records,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And we weren't getting paid from GSL, so it's like we were getting paid from selling bullshit merch, I guess, you know, like we had to make ends meet somehow.
Yeah, totally. Also, speaking of GSL, something very bizarre happening in pop culture now is like they said that punk would be back under Trump, and it seems to be back in the form of like Beto Overwork claiming how punk he is and stuff, and talking about the Mars Volta all the time. And it's just like I'm just curious what your take on like why are politicians trying to claim punk in 2019? Like, does anyone even care anymore?
I don't know. I mean, I think with Beto is like that he sort of comes from the same like larger umbrella that has Blink and it has Riley Jehu and the Locust or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, I mean, he's got like, you know, Kim Gordon repping him, and like that's probably pretty cool, I guess, you know. But I mean, fuck, I don't know if politics are really complex, and I think like I'm not sure that like even like, you know, even if fucking Kim McClard, you know, from Ebullition, or Sam McPheeters from Born Against Someone like was like, I'm going to be president, you know, I feel like the system's fucked. It's not going to work no matter who's in there. They're going to limit you, or they're going to out you, or whatever. It's like, I don't have faith in the system. It's corrupt and it's rotten to the core, you know? So it's like, maybe these things will change people on smaller, minute levels, and maybe it'll influence like social change, but like, it's not going to implement like full on, you know, I think like government structural change or the way that like the government functions as a, you know, as an entity. I think like, I mean, I'm not impressed necessarily by Beto, but I mean, I don't know. It is kind of funny to like look at other like people on the right, like be like making fun of them for being in a rock band. You're like,
right. Well, there's
nothing,
also
like,
there's people on the right saying that being conservative is the new punk also. Everyone's trying to claim punk all over the place.
That's crazy shit right there. But fuck, I don't know. I mean, but that also like has always existed as well too. You know, just like this sort of like, I mean, if you look at like skinhead bands, I mean, they play punk rock music, even though they're fucking, you know, usually they're neo-Nazis, you know, or whatever. So it's still under the like shitty umbrella of punk rock, I guess.
Yeah. That's kind of like the thing that's blowing my mind is just seeing how vast it is that Justin Pearson and Tom DeLonge are in the same documentary. And Tom DeLonge even mentions Spock haircuts in the trailer, which I was like, that's got to be a direct diss right there.
I mean, we all had those haircuts, but like, fuck, I'd rather have that haircut and play in a rad band than like have some other haircut and like play in a pop punk band, but to each their own.
Right.
He's the one that's fucking loaded, you know, and like laughing his way to the bank. So it's all good.
Yeah, true. Okay. Just finally, like, so, anything you want to plug at all? I'm curious also, like, why hasn't the Locust, you know, gotten your payday of doing some big reunion at a fest yet? That seems like a good idea at this point, no?
I think that the Locust is kind of complex, I guess, in itself. And we realize that there's like, it hasn't been tarnished yet, you know? So we're kind of trying to not like, just be like, you know, in the next like car commercial or whatever, like just kind of keep it legit still. But, I mean, we rehearse, regularly and like kind of, we've been writing and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's not, I don't know, like it will play again. Like, you know, we're like actively considering playing again. It's just, I think that like, I don't necessarily know that we're going to just be like, let's cash in and do like this or that, or I don't know, whatever kind of like, I don't want to name any bands. I mean, that's the thing is like, we never really broke up. Like we're like someone like at the drive-in breaks up and then they get back together and it's a big deal, you know, like we just kind of like stopped for a lot of reasons. I mean, like, you know, career stuff or like family stuff, having children, things like that. Like that slows down like whatever momentum that like a full-time, full functioning band has, you know? And so everybody kind of did their own thing. And at certain junctures, we kind of revisit it when we can. And so like, Yeah, I mean, in that way, it's like not cheap. I don't think none of us want to cheapen what we have, I guess,
Right. Cool. Yeah. So then what else are you working on? What do you want to let us know about?
Fuck, I don't know. I mean, I'm currently working on a new Dead Cross record. I started this new band called Death Club, which we have a record done, and it'll an EP. 312 will be putting that out at some point, and then I'm also working on a new Planet B album. So those are the 3 kind of active bands that I have right now, and there's always other random shit that comes up. I was helping out on this like skateboard documentary it's like about skateboard art. Luke Henshaw from Planet B was doing it, and so I've just been like working on that, going to the studio and like just doing like scoring this film, which it's a pretty rad film, and also like taking it back full circle. When I was like 8 or 9 years old and getting into skateboarding, it's like all the same shit that was influencing me. So it's really cool to work on that, I guess musically. But so yeah, there's always like tons of shit going on, I guess.
That rules. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.